Welcome to Math on Monday. We've just finished up the U.S. customary system that we use here in the United States. And now in Go Math in Chapter 9, we're talking about length in metric units. So we are learning about the metric system. A few years ago, a student brought me, actually I think it was Bradley's big brother. I think it was Max. Max found this page for me in one of the books he was reading, and I copied it, and it says Burma, Liberia, and the United States are the only countries in the world that haven't adopted the metric system. So let's look at this. So here's us right here. Here's the United States in the world. Here is Liberia, this little place in Africa. And here's a place, this is Burma. So the United States, Liberia, this little country in Africa, and Burma, this country in Asia. Everywhere else uses the metric system. So the metric system is used worldwide. We're the weird ones. We really should use the metric system. And maybe someday they'll change it. I don't know. But we'll see. Now, I wanted to find out a little more about these places that don't use the metric system. So Liberia has their own little system they use, but this Burma, this place in Asia, is really quite interesting, and it's a very poor place, and there's a lot of war, and the government is corrupt. That means the government is bad, and the military is bad. It's really not a nice place to live. And it's such a mess there, they can't agree on a system of measurement to use, is really what it comes down to. That it's such a place where people just are not getting along. Now, a while back, I found this article in an old National Geographic on Burma that I wanted to share with you, and it's called The Richest of Poor Countries. That doesn't really make sense. It's a very poor country. The people there don't have a lot of money. But guess who does have a lot of money? The people that are running the country are corrupt. They're not taking good care of the people. So I wanted to show you a few little pictures of what Burma is like. And here, these people are planting rice. And the weather is bad because this is a monsoon. They have a lot of wet weather there. And another thing that was really interesting is that it says in these rice fields, there are a lot of cobras and vipers. And so Burma is a place where deaths by snake bite happens a lot, which is really interesting. That's definitely not a leader in deaths here in the United States. So there's a lot of snakes there that they have to watch out for. Here's the page here. It's a poor country. Can you see that? There's a little boy. He's asleep. This is probably his home. He's just sleeping on the road. Here's an actual map of Burma. This just shows how rainy it can get, how wet it can get there. This is interesting. This is a picture of what it kind of looks like in the downtown. This is called an urban area where we have lots of traffic, lots of people, lots of apartment buildings. I don't know, that doesn't look like a place where I would want to live. I'm grateful for my own house. Pretty interesting. Here's just some more pictures that show some of the very wet weather. A man riding an elephant. There's a lot of elephants, and they use elephants instead of equipment for logging. They have the elephants carry the logs. It says the elephants are actually cheaper than tractors and other equipment. And they don't damage the roads, which is interesting too. So they use elephants to do a lot of work. Anyway, I hope that you enjoyed that little book about Burma. Let's move on and talk a little bit more about the metric system. So obviously a lot of people use the metric system. And when the French teachers come here to Morningside from France, the U.S. customary system is all new to them, and they are trying to figure out what on earth is going on. Because with the U.S. customary system, we have 12 inches in a foot, we have 36 inches in a yard, we have 5,280 feet in a mile, we have 1,760 yards in a mile. These are not numbers that are easy to remember. They're actually very hard to remember. You kind of just have to memorize them. But guess what? The metric system is much easier. It's all base 10. So it's much easier to remember. Remember how we've learned a lot about how our brains really like even numbers and using those perfect tens? So I think you'll like the metric system. It's easier to remember, even though we don't use it here. I do know that scientists use it in labs. So that's one place where, even in the United States, the metric system is used. In the next video, I'm going to read you a story.